William "Billy" C. Johnson was a prominent figure in organized crime and drug trafficking in the United States, particularly during the late 20th century. His life and criminal career are marked by a series of significant events that highlight the complexities of law enforcement efforts to bring him to justice. Early life and criminal career. Billy Johnson was born in the 1950s in a troubled neighborhood in New York City. Growing up in an environment where crime was rampant, he quickly became involved in petty thefts and gang activities during his teenage years. His criminal inclinations were further solidified when he joined a local gang that operated under the larger umbrella of organized crime families in the city. By the 1970s, Johnson had established himself as a reliable enforcer and drug dealer within the criminal underworld. His rise to power was marked by his ruthless approach to eliminating rivals and expanding his drug trafficking operations. He was known for his strategic acumen and ability to forge alliances with other crime families, which helped him gain significant control over drug distribution networks in the city. Crimes and activities. Johnson's criminal enterprise primarily focused on the distribution of heroin and cocaine. He operated sophisticated smuggling routes that brought drugs into the United States from South America. His network included corrupt officials, international smugglers, and local distributors, making it difficult for law enforcement to track and dismantle his operations. In addition to drug trafficking, Johnson was involved in various other criminal activities, including money laundering, extortion, and violent crimes. His organization used intimidation and violence to maintain control over their territory and eliminate any threats to their operations. Police investigation. The investigation into Johnson's criminal activities was a complex and lengthy process that involved multiple law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, DEA, and local police departments. The investigation began in the early 1980s, following a series of drug-related arrests that pointed to a larger criminal organization operating in the city. Surveillance and intelligence gathering. Law enforcement agencies conducted extensive surveillance on Johnson and his associates. Wiretaps, informants, and undercover agents were used to gather intelligence on the inner workings of his organization. Building a case. As evidence accumulated, authorities began to piece together the structure of Johnson's drug trafficking network. They documented his involvement in drug shipments, financial transactions, and violent crimes, creating a comprehensive case against him. Cooperation with informants. Several lower-level members of Johnson's organization were arrested and offered reduced sentences in exchange for their cooperation. These informants provided crucial information that helped authorities understand the scope of Johnson's operations and identify key players. Coordination with other agencies. The investigation required coordination between various law enforcement agencies to track Johnson's activities across state and international borders. This collaboration was essential in disrupting his smuggling routes and financial networks. Arrest and conviction. In 1986, after years of investigation, law enforcement executed a series of coordinated raids on Johnson's properties and those of his associates. Johnson was arrested along with several high-ranking members of his organization. The raids yielded substantial amounts of drugs, cash, and weapons, providing further evidence of his criminal activities. The trial that followed was one of the most high-profile cases of the time. Prosecutors presented overwhelming evidence of Johnson's involvement in drug trafficking and other crimes. Witnesses, including former associates who had turned informants, testified against him, painting a vivid picture of his criminal empire. In 1988, William "Billy" C. Johnson was convicted on multiple charges, including drug trafficking, racketeering, and conspiracy to commit murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. His conviction was a significant victory for law enforcement and marked the downfall of one of the most notorious drug kingpins of the era. Thanks for tuning into Sika Stories. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more captivating tales. Your support helps us keep bringing these stories to life. See you in the